Sup everyone, welcome back to Jades Corner. On this newest edition of the rebooted Fantasy Fight series, we'll settle the score on who would win in a fight to the death in the first ever tag team battle between Angel and Spike and the Klaus and Elijah Michelson. These two powerful groups of supernaturals from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the originals possess incredible powers and abilities that will make a battle between them one of the all-time greats. We'll be taking into account all the powers and abilities they've had throughout their time in their respective universes, including temporary power-ups for this matchup, allowing these four to fight at their absolute peaks. So join me as we break down the battle between these two groups regarding strength, speed, agility, durability, endurance, combat experience, and hacks. But before we begin this fight to the death, if you're new here, subscribe, hit that like button, and ring the notification bell to stay up to date on all things supernatural, including these thrilling battles. Now let's see who wins this battle between Buffy's iconic vampire duo and the infamous Michelson brothers.
It's survival of the fittest on a global scale. Who among the challengers will make it to the top? Glory and adoration that comes with being declared the world's greatest fighter!
I feel just fine.
So, who do you kill for fun around here?
Who are you?
Spike.
You weren't kidding about being hungry.
It's the battle of the century! Are you ready? Who will emerge a champion? Let's get started!
For strength, we're going to give it to both Angel and Spike. Both of these vampires are proficient in a huge, diverse variety of fighting styles. Angel is proficient in and uses karate, hapkido, taekwondo, muay thai, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, wushu, boxing, wrestling, and tai chi when fighting his opponents, often combining these into one unique fighting style. Spike is proficient in various forms of martial arts, and his typical fighting style blends judo, karate, muay thai, kung fu, street fighting, and boxing. And like Angel, he blends these into his own unique fighting style. At his weakest, Angel can backhand someone so hard, their head will twist 180 degrees and kick people so hard that they'll usually go flying through the air pretty high away from the ground. He's also able to casually knock out people with a single punch and can even punch through plexiglass easily, which is 11 times stronger than normal glass and is extremely sturdy. He's able to withstand gunfire from a .44 Magnum, and he's even strong enough to decapitate someone with a metal dinner plate and break a demon's back with his knee after lifting it over his head. While enhanced by the entity known as Twilight, a powerful sentient dimension, he was given the power of flight, and all his normal abilities were enhanced to the point where he could hold up an entire airplane with his bare hands. He one-shots someone in the head with a small tablespoon and kills a werewolf with a pin. Yes, a writing pin, as well as soloing an onslaught of demons by himself, and fought and beat an angel, yes, an angel from heaven, on his own. However, these abilities were temporary, but as mentioned in the intro to this video, they will be added to his abilities for this fight since we're pitting these two forces together using their peak powers. As for Spike, he was widely known as a legendary dark warrior, with Buffy, who is the strongest slayer in the history of their verse, stating that he's the strongest fighter in their group known as the Scoobies. He was so strong and skilled in combat that he was able to overpower Illyria, an old one, and the oldest of the pure demons that ruled over Earth during the Primordium Age. She is stated to have godly level power even in her human form. He's also seen fighting on par with Angel before he acquired his power-ups on multiple occasions. He has killed two Slayers, Zen Rong and Nikki Wood, and fought on par with Buffy, the most powerful of the Slayers, on numerous occasions. He also fights Faith, who is near Buffy's strength, and holds his own against her as well. He's also shown to fight and easily defeat demon gladiators, alpha demon warriors, ancient demons, and ancient vampires. His iconic fight with Buffy in season 6 was so powerful that them fighting and having sex was strong enough to destroy an entire building. As for Klaus and Elijah, this isn't Klaus's first time on the Fantasy Fight series, and we've covered some of his best feats already, but just to cover them in a general overview, he's strong enough to use enough force to decapitate a witch with a graduation cap, which is insane, and just as impressive as Angel's feat where he decapitates somebody with a metal dinner plate. He's strong enough to snap a neck with his grip. He's strong enough to snap a neck with his grip force alone and slaps a man's head off even when weakened. He can even send a person flying back dozens of meters with the backswing of a tire iron. All of these epic feats add to the ones mentioned in his previous appearance, such as fighting an army of vampires and putting up a decent fight against an upgraded original vampire, Marcel Gerard. As for Elijah Michelson, his strength feats include slamming into a wall so hard it shook a basement, caving in a large chunk of ground with a single stomp, and punching upgraded Marcel hard enough to send him flying back into a brick column, breaking parts of it. He even ripped out the hearts of 2 men while sending them flying several stories in the air, even throwing a machine gun several meters away, hard enough to pierce through a man's chest. Now, in my honest opinion, with both of these groups at their peak powers, Angel and Spike clearly have the advantage. I mean, at Angel's peak, he was able to hold up an airplane, which is the greatest strength feat out of these 4 characters by a long shot. It's not even up for debate. So in my honest opinion, Angel and Spike take this round.
What will happen now? Will the tide of battle turn?
For speed, we're going to again give it to Angel and Spike here. Angel, even before he reached the peak of his powers in the latter half of the Buffy series, was so fast that he could run and reach opponents and other people in milliseconds, being able to speed blitz 2 men and pin them to a wall and blur to the other side of a room to confront a woman, with both of these feats happening in about a millisecond. His reaction speed is also so potent that he was able to dodge darts and bullets from multiple gunmen at close range, even being able to dodge bullets in midair while flipping. His combat speed is also very impressive, countering blows from a demon with incredible speed and agility. He's able to throw his axe in the air, stake 2 vampires, and catch it in time to decapitate a demon, moving so fast that his axe appears in slow motion. He can also get to drop an opponent so fast that it appears as if magic is being used in the process of him doing that. All these abilities are only greatly modified by Twilight's empowerment, sending him to his absolute peak of his powers. Spike is also no slouch either, arguably being just as fast as Angel on a normal basis. He can run so fast that he leaves an after image of himself, blur over to a woman in a millisecond as well, who was fleeing for her life, and even outruns a crashing spaceship. His reaction speed is arguably on par with Angel's, being able to dodge gunfire effortlessly, dodge lightning bolts, and dodge laser bolts. As for Klaus and Elijah, anything Elijah does, Klaus can do slightly better due to his werewolf side and exclusive status as the original hybrid. Their fastest movement speed, that is a for sure feat and not a toss-up, is the time where they outran an explosion, saving Jackson Kenner in the process in season 1 episode 21 of the originals. Elijah's reaction time is impressive, being able to catch arrows mid-flight and intercept bullets as they're being fired. He's also able to take out 3 vampires before anyone can react to his presence, and kills 2 vampires fast enough to not be seen until it's done. As for Klaus, he's fast enough to dodge a fireball as it's enveloping him and can avoid machine gun fire in the dark. He moves so quickly that he can travel up a cliff in an instant and runs on a pack of supernaturals and rips one of their hearts out before anyone can notice, and blitzes an enhanced original vampire, Alaric Saltzman, which is also impressive too. In my honest opinion, with all these feats combined for both of these groups, these feats sadly don't come close to any of the speed feats that Angel and Spike were able to perform in their respective universe. For this category, it's going to go to Angel and Spike.
And the battle continues. Let's keep it up.
For agility, and so far Angel and Spike are clearing these guys. We're gonna give it to Angel and Spike once again. Spike is fast enough to dodge laser bolts from a demon, and Angel is more agile even before he got his power up, being able to reach the top of a castle with a single leap, run up walls to gain an advantage on opponents, flip back to the top of a building using a single circular motion. He is even seen to be proficient in some form of acrobatics, being able to fight multiple vampires at the same time. He can even jump as high as 100 feet in the air. These abilities are heightened even further at his peak. As for Elijah and Klaus, They can both fight, react, and dodge using their enhanced speed, though Klaus is better at this due to his hybrid nature. Still in the agility category, this is about how well they can use their agility in fights. It's clear by the feats in the Buffy universe that Angel and Spike use their agility way more than Klaus and Elijah, but this isn't a slight on Klaus and Elijah because they're so powerful in their own verse, they don't really need to use their agility that much when fighting opponents that are lesser than them, which is who they fight most of the time when they're not fighting each other or somebody in the rare occasion that's more powerful than them. Even though Angel and Spike win this isn't a slight on Klaus and Elijah either.
Pick up the pace!
For the durability category, we're actually gonna give this to Klaus and Elijah, although Angel and Spike come very close. So in the comments, if you want to say this is a tie after I go over this category, you can, because it's very arguable that this can be a tie, to be honest. So for Angel and Spike, Angel is extremely durable in his normal state and is one of the most durable vampires in TV history, being able to tank lightning from another dimension, no-cell electrify blows from a metahuman who is capable of frying people alive with a single touch, survive being blown up by a grenade, coming out unscathed and unharmed. He tanks an explosion from an IED alongside Spike, with the only result being that their clothes were burned up. He can contain explosions that blow him away and set him on fire, and he gets blasted and brushes off laser blasts so powerful that the laser blast can eviscerate humans on impact, and this only gives him slight boils on his skin. He even tanked blows from Jahira, whose thermokinetic powers render humans unconscious for hours. He gets up and continues to fight after being backhanded into concrete pillars that shatter into pieces. He tanks a dumpster that was thrown to his face and hits his face, and he walks away from a speeding car as if nothing happened to him. He even fell from the 15th floor of a skyscraper and got back up and continued doing his task as if nothing happened. All of these feats, by the way, came before he got his power up from Twilight. As for Spike, he tanked a brick being thrown at his head, tanked blows from Illyria, who he was training with at the time, an old one Impure Demon as mentioned earlier when I brought her up previously, who at her weakest can casually punch giant holes through brick walls with ease, and walks away from getting magically punched through a wall so hard it created a crater around him. He even walked away unharmed from getting his head smashed against a lamppost that broke in half by a demon. He tanked a werewolf bite to his neck and got stabbed through the heart by a sword for a ritual and survived, and is only pissed off and fights further after being bit in the torso by a three-headed demon. As for Klaus and Elijah share the same level of durability, only being able to get killed by the white oak stake. Elijah can walk through straight bullets, fully recover in seconds from a grenade filled with vervain exploding in his face, and get right back up after being blown up by a motorcycle gas tank explosion. As for Klaus, his greatest durability feat was being able to survive an ordeal against Lucian Castle, a vampire a lot stronger than him. Although this doesn't last very long and he gets incapacitated by Papa Tunde's blade. Because Klaus and Elijah are only able to get killed by the white oak stake and nothing else can kill them, it's even stated by Rebecca, I'm pretty sure, that if you rip their heart out, they'll only be dead temporarily and they'll eventually regrow their heart. It's impossible to kill these guys, so the only way for these two to win is gonna have to be through incapacitating them temporarily. Klaus and Elijah take the durability category here.
Which of these two challengers will walk away a champion?
For endurance, we're gonna give this to Angel and Spike. Angel's endurance is one of the best of any vampire, bar none. His body can withstand the extreme pressure from the depths of the ocean, so he can roam freely down there without a diving suit with weights to keep him from floating up to the surface. He endured centuries of torment in a hell dimension, and after returning to Earth, he returned to normal in a short period of time. He can also climb a small mountain without any climbing supplies. And as for Spike, if enough damage is done to him, he can tire out from fatigue. As for Klaus and Elijah, Klaus can fight an entire army of vampires without fatigue, and Elijah fought a small platoon of the Strix and fought multiple vampires trying to rush him without any sign of getting tired or fatigued. And mind you, the Strix are just as old as the originals are, so this is very impressive for Elijah, not gonna lie. For this category, Angel and Spike, take it. I think Angel's endurance alone clears Spike, Klaus, and Elijah's, because none of the vampires from the Vampire Diaries universe are known to be able to survive even in ravines. If they're stuck down there with no way out, they're gonna die over and over and over again. This this is gonna go to Angel and Spike.
Anything can happen now. This bout will determine who is the strongest once and for all.
For combat experience, this 100%, I don't care how old Klaus and Elijah are, compared to Angel and Spike in their own universe, this 100% goes to Angel and Spike. These two have fought demons, angels, dragons, aliens, the Slayers, sentient beings hailing from other dimensions such as Twilight, pure demons, witches, monsters, and some of the oldest known demons and beings in existence, alongside armies of vampires and demons from their time period and the future after time traveling to the 23rd century to stop the reckoning. For Klaus and Elijah, they're only experienced fighting vampires, witches, hybrids, and werewolves, not any of the creatures that appeared in Legacy, since that show went completely off the rails. From what we see in the Vampire Diaries and the originals, they're only experienced fighting that small portion of creatures. Angel and Spike's experience, they've gone through pretty much everything. It's not even up for debate. It goes to Angel and Spike.
Pull out all the stops. Who will emerge victorious?
For experience, we're gonna give this to Klaus and Elijah. Angel is 250 years old, and Spike, by the end of the main Buffy series, is stated to be around 140 years old. As for Klaus and Elijah are some of the oldest immortals in their verse period. They're over 1,000 years old. This for sure is going to Klaus and Elijah. No debates, no ifs, ands, or buts when discussing this.
It all comes down to this. This match decides the winner. This is the last round.
And the last category here for hacks, it's gonna go to Angel and Spike for damn sure. Angel is proficient in sorcery and is able to perform exorcisms and illusion casting through glamour to conceal his true form under an object, person, or various illusions. This is similar to Silas from the Vampire Diaries powers, and I would argue Angel is even more potent in illusion casting than Silas is, who Klaus was unable to deal with and was even terrified of alongside his brother Cole. He also has a potent photographic memory, and at his peak, he had no weaknesses and was nigh invulnerable, being immune to sunlight and all of his previous vampire weaknesses. So which means whatever vampire weakness you could have exploited for Angel at his absolute peak, it wasn't gonna work. Spike is extremely smart, even smarter than Angel. He's so smart to the point that he's regarded as a tactical expert, being able to decipher fighting styles just by looking at an opponent fighting. This is like some Dragon Ball Z shit with like Goku easily being able to decipher opponents' moves just by looking at them. So Spike is pretty much a combat genius. This includes even some of the most powerful entities in the Buffyverse, such as Illyria, who he was able to decipher easily as well. Both Angel and Spike have vast knowledge and in-depth information on different demon species and other supernatural beings. With Spike's keen intelligence, he'd be able to decipher Klaus and Elijah's strengths and weaknesses quickly. They're also generally faster in close combat than Klaus and Elijah, so they wouldn't be in fear of getting killed. At least Spike by Klaus or Elijah would get killed, but Angel wouldn't. Also, most of Klaus and Elijah's abilities will not work on the vampires of the Buffyverse, as they are immune to most of them. Angel, as mentioned before, also cannot be killed, even if he was staked by an entire tree at his peak, as he's absolutely invulnerable. And yes, they did try to stake Angel with the whole tree, and the dude still tanked it and came back as if like nothing happened. As for Klaus and Elijah, Klaus will be the more difficult one to deal with, as he has none of the weaknesses Elijah has except for the White Oak stake, which won't be a part of this battle. So Angel and Spike's best way of winning is incapacitating them, as mentioned earlier. Klaus's vampire and werewolf sides cancel out, making him impossible to stop unless you're a being that's stronger than him, which Angel and Spike are. At least Angel is. Spike scales relative to Klaus and Elijah, and the only ability they have that will work is compulsion, and that's if they can keep Angel and Spike still long enough to use it. Spike will likely be the one who dies first, as mentioned before, probably at the hands of Elijah most likely, as Spike has the most weaknesses of the four, and he's vulnerable to sunlight, wood, fire, garlic, decapitation, and holy items. None of these are an issue for Elijah, and especially Klaus, because Elijah has a daylight ring. So in my opinion, the fight will be very interesting. Mind you, these are all hypotheticals because we're talking about a hypothetical fight between these two groups. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I think that Spike will die first, and then Angel will take out Elijah, no problem. And then it's going to be a hard fought battle between Klaus and Angel, in which Angel will come out as the victor because his strength is just ridiculous, especially at his peak. As mentioned before, he can hold up a whole airplane, and it's also going to be hard for Klaus and Elijah to even deal with Angel period at his peak with all of his powers available, because he can fly and Klaus and Elijah can't fly. So Angel can just take them up in the air and like throw them. It's insane the amount of shit that Angel can do at the peak of his powers, especially with the powers that Twilight gave him, which are of course a part of this battle. Angel and Spike take the hacks category solely because Angel is just a beast when at the peak of his powers. If Angel and Spike and Klaus and Elijah were not allowed to fight at the peak of their powers, unrestrained, no holds bar, and Angel didn't have the full range of his powers and abilities he's had throughout the Buffyverse in this battle, I think that this would easily go to Klaus and Elijah for damn sure. Angel and Spike win this category, and that's a wrap on that battle. The winner is Angel and Spike. Mid difficulty if they're fighting in their regular forms, and if they're fighting at the peak of their powers, this is mainly talking about Angel here because Angel is a complete monster, then they destroy Klaus and Elijah with low difficulty, with, you know, Spike probably jobbing out in both scenarios, but Angel absolutely dogging him in the peak powers conversation. But for regular, it'd probably be a toss-up between Klaus and Angel, and, you know, Elijah would probably get taken out, you know, by Angel as well. But it'd probably be a very hard fought battle for Angel and Spike. So even though Angel and Spike win, I'm gonna give Klaus and Elijah their respect because they are the GOATs. They're gonna put up a really good fight against these two. A fight between these two groups will be very fucking awesome if it actually happens. So yeah, even though they lose, we gotta still give them their respect. At the end of the day, we're not gonna trash on these two. These two are iconic, they're goated. So yeah, even though they lost, the winner is Angel and Spike. Sorry, Klaus and Elijah, but
You lose!
Finish him.
Stare into the face of death.
Fatality.
if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, as it helps this video perform better in the algorithm and reach more people. Comment your thoughts on this video below. I go through all the comments, so any feedback is appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider making today that day. And when you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell icon and set those notifications to all so that you never miss a future video. Also, don't forget to join my Discord server, linked below, and all my socials and other versus battle channels are linked in the description and pinned comment below as well. And until next time, this is Jades Corner signing off. Peace. And now a sneak peek and tease for the next Fantasy Fights video. See you all in March.